What changed my life is, one, I made a decision. You know what? I want to be a more positive person and a more positive influence to those around me whom I love. Your words have power, right? And at the end of the day, we want our words to be a positive influence towards others rather than a negative influence. Because a lot of the times when we don't prepare ourselves at the beginning of the day, throughout the day, we will react to everything because we have not prepared our minds and our hearts for the day. This is a daily thing that we have to do and we have to practice and we discipline. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Veggie Bob Vlogs podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy, and this is my lovely wife, Bianca. Bianca, say hi to the camera.
Hello.
So before we even get started, I just wanna put this out there. Notice our hats. Well, it's not really a hat. They're headbands. So it's a chicken. So I got one first, and then Bianca's like, "Yo, I want one too." Because when I first bought this, they only had one left in stock. But when we went back, we got them at Miniso, people. So they're at Miniso. When we went back, dude, I don't know if they sell these anywhere else. We saw another one, and Bianca's like, "Yo, get another headband." I'm like, "I have one," and she wanted one. So I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna get one, but we gotta wear these." So I don't know if you've been noticing, but in all of our podcasts, every episode, we're wearing like some sort of hat, whether it's a regular hat, or a Mario hat, or a Kuromi hat, or a dumb-looking hat, or a beaver, or we've had a lot of hats. Even the guests have had hats. Except your dad. I gotta give your dad a hat.
My dad wear this. So
Maybe.
He has to.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that next time. So just putting that out there. I don't know. I just like these things. It's part of my personality. I have that weird personality, and I'm so glad my wife has also a weird personality.
I don't have a weird personality.
Who's got a chicken on their head?
I could remove it.
Don't.
Exactly. I'm doing this for you.
I know, and I love you for it. Okay, so to get on topic, again, I wanted to talk about this again, and it's just regarding my favorite verse, Proverbs 18:21, which is, I'll say it, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat the fruit thereof." So basically, another way to say this is your words have power, and they can either influence positivity or negativity. They can bring either death or life to a person, right? So in this podcast, I wanted to outline 3 steps that you can take to be a more positive influencer with your words, right? So I actually had to write these down. So these are 3 steps that I've personally done in my life, and it has changed who I am completely. Like, it's completely transformed me and my life. Like, you can kind of speak into that, right? Like who I was 6 years ago before we started dating versus when we started dating. I was like a completely different person because this was one of the verses that really sat strongly in my heart. And it's one of those things where, yeah, I know if I say negative things, it could hurt somebody. And if I say positive things, it could uplift somebody. But it's one of those things I never really took to heart until I read this verse and I really meditated on it, right? So a lot of us, wouldn't you want to say you would want to have more positive relationships with those we love?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times, the people we love, they can get on our nerves, right? And when they get on our nerves, a lot of the times we react in a negative way, and we react and say negative things to either take a jab at them or even say something negative in our defense to defend us, right? So rather than going that way, what changed my life is, one, I made a decision. You know what? I want to be a more positive person and a more positive influence to those around me whom I love. So I'm talking directly with friends, my best friends, family members, relatives, right? Those who I actually want in my social circle. But not just that, but even those who aren't directly in my social circle and people who I'm just meeting for the first time. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times when we first meet somebody, whether in a school setting, a work setting, or even if you're just out grocery shopping or whatever, you don't want to be that jerk. Right? Or I imagine you don't want to be that jerk. I don't want to be that jerk. And, it's not that I don't want, it's not that I want to be the guy who everybody likes, but if I can be a positive light to other people, even if just for a moment, even just for a brief interaction whom I have with someone, I want to be that, right? Because I want to be a light unto other people, especially in a dark world where, man, there's so many bad things going on, right? So the first thing I do, I wrote this down. The first thing I do is I meditate on the word. So this is step one of 3. I meditate on the word and the principles of the word. So in this case, it's this verse, Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, right? So when I say I meditate on this word, what I mean is I take time out of my day to spend literally just organizing my thoughts and having my thoughts to myself and sorting through them and even just setting myself up to have a better day, if that makes sense. Like, have you guys ever had those situations where you just wake up and you're late and you just rush and you go, where you don't really have time to gather yourself? You ever have one of those days? You ever have those days?
Every day.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like, you don't like the feeling. You don't like how you just react to everything, right? Because a lot of the times when we don't prepare ourselves at the beginning of the day, throughout the day, we will react to everything because we have not prepared our minds and our hearts for the day. This is a daily thing that we have to do and we have to practice and we discipline. And this is one of the first things I started doing. And this is one of the very big transformational changes that I saw when I started doing this, is making time to meditate on the Word of God and to organize my thoughts and to just think how I can apply the Word of God. In this case, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your words have power throughout my day. One of the examples, not one of the examples, but one of the actual things that I did for my quiet time, so when I have time to meditate, is at the beginning of my day, whether I wake up at 7, 6, or 5, I had early days back then. My days are a little bit later now, but I would wake up at a certain time every day, let's 7 a.m., and I would put aside, it first started out at 10 minutes a day. It literally started out, I put 10 minutes aside at the beginning of the day when I first woke up to just meditate, gather myself, and wake up. Keyword there is wake up, right? And a lot of the times I did this while I was on the toilet, because the first thing I got to do when I wake up is, oh man, I gotta go. Right? So what I purposely did is I didn't take my phone in the bathroom with me. Have you guys ever had those times where you go to the bathroom and you're like, yeah, I just gotta go pee, poop, whatever. And you ever notice when you have your phone with you in the bathroom, you take longer than you would if you didn't have your phone? So I made a conscious decision to not have my phone with me in the bathroom while I'm meditating. So it literally just be me and my thoughts and a verse that I would meditate on while I'm sitting on the toilet. Now, I know this is getting a little personal, but I find that's how I started, literally. 10 minutes at the beginning of the day, meditating on the Word of God. So I would think about it, and then I'd be like, man, God, how would I apply this? I'd ask myself this, how would I apply this in today? for this day, the people who I would run into, what words would I say, or how could I be a positive influence with my words to the people I'm going to run into today. So during this time, it was COVID. So I didn't really run into a lot of people. I didn't really go out, but it would just be interactions with my immediate family, right? And Dave at the time, my youth pastor at the time, because we would interact. And I found when I thought about those things, the more I thought about those things, it became more instilled in my heart, and I became more aware of just how much power my words have. So step one, right? Take the time at the beginning of your day. It could start off with 5 minutes. It could start off with 10 minutes until, for me, now it grew into an hour. I take an hour at the beginning of my day to meditate on the Word of God and the principles in verses that I like to read and that I've taken out of the Word of God, right? So that's step one. All right. Step two, I'm going to ask you a few questions after, right? Step two is imagine how you would apply this in your everyday life, right? So ask yourself, who do you come into contact with? And how can I practice using my words to be a positive influence towards whoever I'm going to be in contact with? So I guess I'll kind of ask you, you ever have those scenarios where you're just doing the mundane things throughout your day, and you ever just think about certain scenarios and how scenarios would play out in your head with certain people?
Sometimes.
Like with who? Would it be like people from work? Or from school? Or with me? Have you ever had those times with me where you would think of me?
No.
Okay, so what do you mean sometimes you'd play it out, those scenarios? Like what type of scenarios would you play out?
I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes with school, sometimes with like, once in a while, it'd be like, I don't know if they're my friends anymore, but just other scenarios that happened previously. It's more of just embarrassing scenarios that I hate playing in my head. And
Wait, so you play embarrassing scenarios in your
I
head?
like it. It just pops up. Like,
So those are those scenarios that pop up in your head, eh?
yeah, and I'm just like, they just shrug it off. Like, it's so stupid too, because like people won't even be thinking about that.
No, only you would be thinking of
Yeah.
that, and that's why you think about that.
It's, I guess, what's from your heart, I guess.
That's what's in your
Yeah.
heart. So so when you play those scenarios in your head, do you play out what you would say or what you have said?
If it's an embarrassing one,
Yeah.
what I did say, and then I just either scream or something just to like not think about it anymore.
So you wouldn't think about, instead of me saying this.
No, not for embarrassing ones.
No?
Maybe for what, like maybe I can't say the name out loud, but there was one where I'd always think about what I could have said.
Okay, because we all do
Yeah.
that. It's like, man, I wish I
And
could
it's
said this
like,
instead.
yeah, but then I always think back, I'm like, well, if I were to say that, would I be here
Today.
So it's like, I don't know.
But
So
in the end, like, this is the way I always think is, whenever I'm role playing these scenarios in my head and who I interact with, I would imagine the conversation going one way, where this would be my automatic response versus this would be the response I would like to have.
yeah.
Right? Do you ever have those moments or no?
Not really, because when I think about that, I kind of tend to then think about, I guess, I don't know if it'd be called the aftermath after of what path I would have taken after. Because I know there's some people in the past, like I don't have a strong personality. Like I feel like I kind of sometimes get influenced with who I'm with at times. And then so if I were to stick with certain people, I don't know if I would still be who I am today.
So in
sense.
okay, so what you're saying is in a way you kind of steered the path of your life to become who you would want to be
Yeah, I
by
guess.
choosing to spend time with certain people versus not spending time with certain people.
Because I think about sometimes, yeah, like what are scenarios or actions in the past, and I didn't realize before how it affected me.
So you weren't even aware of it.
No, because I didn't really think like how it wasn't too bad, but it's like, it's like little things and they kind of add up and you're like, those aren't really good habits that I should have been doing.
But so when did you become aware of that?
Like
When it was almost too late?
when it was already too late.
Oh, okay. So when it
Years
was too late. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and then it kind of made me realize like this is why I'm so glad that I'm with you because I think it's once I started like just being with you, I kind of took two and two together and then why certain things played out, why we also weren't communicating at this point. Because I know
Who
like,
wasn't communicating?
no, if we were, because there were times, how we were like communicating on and off.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
And then it kind of makes sense, like, oh, this is why this happened. I don't know, it just makes you appreciate how everything came together.
Okay.
For other scenarios, I guess maybe, I guess sometimes would work. Not really would work. I don't know. Maybe because I don't really talk to a lot of people.
So you just want to avoid those situations.
Yeah, like I don't know. I really don't know. I guess because I just have certain people, whether it's at work or at school, I'm just kind of with, and I just don't really have those. I don't say dramatic scenarios, but those scenarios where I'd be like, how it would play out.
Play out.
Yeah.
So you don't really role play in your head, or well, I guess you kind of do without you even realizing
Yeah,
that you
but
are.
it's not the same, I'd say, as what you talked about.
Yeah, because I purposely do this.
Yeah.
I purposely role play scenarios in my head as to there's two paths I could take or two ways I would normally react to use my words. One would be the reaction I would normally take, and the other would be the reaction that I would like to take moving forward to be a more positive influence on said person, right? Okay. So I guess that goes back to step one. I mean, in your case, where do you think it would help a lot to steer your path to become a more positive influence on others if you had more, not quiet time, meditation time, if you were to set that discipline and that time aside for yourself on a daily basis, right? Because I find I do that too. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do.
Oh, yeah. Because, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, sorry, you were going to say.
I was just say, like, you really have to discipline yourself and do it consistently, even if you feel like you don't want to do it.
That's when you should do it the most, when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a discipline. But I find just getting started is the first step. And that's already 50% of the battle, right? Just getting started and then sticking to it. Oh man, that's a whole other thing. But once you already get going, you already have that momentum to keep moving forward. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so step one. Sorry, I'm just recalling the steps. Step one is meditate. Take time to meditate on God's word. In this case, death and life are in the power of the tongue, right? That your words have power. Step two is role play scenarios in your head on how you would respond to certain situations, certain people in a positive or a negative way, and what you would say, right? In your head. Okay, now the third step that I did is basically role play and take action in what you would say, because it's, oh man, this is so good. It's one thing to say how you would respond in your head to somebody, versus how you actually respond, like using your words, verbally hearing it, audibly saying it with your mouth to a person. Because you ever have those times, and I know you do, I know I do too, where you're like, you think back on a situation and you're like, dang it, I reacted this way. I should have said this. But the reason you never said it is because you've never practiced saying it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize the reason you'll never say it is because you've never practiced saying it. You've never practiced articulating the words you would want to say to somebody in that situation. So I find you catch me doing this every day, especially when I'm doing like the mundane. So I'd be making the bed and I'd be saying things and I'd be like, oh man, you're like the greatest, blah, 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 blah. I'd be saying phrases to myself and you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Right? So in those times, I'm literally practicing the words that I would like to say to be a positive influence to other people throughout my day, quite literally. So I would practice phrases and positive affirmations with my mouth. So I'd practice saying, oh man, not oh man, but that is how I would say things. I'd be like, you are beautiful. I'm talking about things that I would say to you.
Oh, okay.
Because before we got together, it didn't come naturally to me to say, you are beautiful. It was really easy for me to say, I wouldn't even say it was really easy for me to say I love you, but positive words of affirmations didn't roll off my tongue the way it does today. You never would have guessed.
No. Is that just because of me?
No, even with people that like my exes.
Oh, you were like just brutally honest, so I thought you just rolled.
I was brutally honest, but like I would say negative things. That's the thing. Like the positive words that would come out of my mouth, that I would like to come out of my mouth, they never came out of my mouth because I never practiced saying them.
Oh.
Like to say, like I know for a lot of guys, it's easy for a majority of guys to compliment a girl by saying, man, you're hot.
Yeah.
But I found it's not as easy for a man to say to a girl, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
You rarely hear a man say to a female, you're beautiful or you're gorgeous, but in a sincere way because they've never really practiced even saying it. The only thing they practice saying is the things that they've heard on TV and social media. God dang, you're hot, man. You got a booty like a, you know what I mean? It's whatever they're accustomed to hearing and seeing on a daily basis. But when we meditate and read the Word of God, right, and we practice saying positive things with our mouths, we're more accustomed to say that in real life scenarios. Like, I gotta ask you.
Oh no, what?
No, because it was never really natural for me and it never rolled off my tongue as easy as it is now to say to a person I love that you're beautiful. You mean so much to me. What are other words that you don't really hear? You're gorgeous. I love your smile. I love the way you laugh at. Like just these really wholesome but beautiful words that you could say to somebody you love. Right? Like those things never naturally rolled off my mouth, off my tongue until I started practicing saying those things when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Right? So are there things that you say to me that didn't come naturally to you before in your past relationships?
No.
So no? You were always able to say,
Yeah.
wow, you're handsome.
Yeah.
Really?
Like when I was with the person and I liked them, like it was genuine when it comes to complimenting them anyway. I think the only one I'd be probably struggling with was if it's something like, let's say if I was either hurt or I knew that my partner at the time would react, whether it's differently or as opposed to whatever idea I had before.
then you wouldn't say it.
Yeah, but when it comes to just being genuine about like their characteristic, their personality, it wasn't hard for me
To really call them out if it was true.
Yeah. Now, if I know it's going to hurt them, that was probably more difficult for me to express that.
Because you wouldn't know what words to say.
Well, not only what words, I mean, I guess, yeah, what words to say.
Like how to articulate,
yeah.
how to articulate your feelings without hurting them.
Yeah.
I think that's another, again, going back into this third step, role playing and thinking about and practicing the words that you would say to somebody you wouldn't want to hurt, but to tell them. So it's kind of like telling them the truth that hurts.
Yeah.
But saying it or finding the words to say kindly.
I think too, depending on like who I was with at the time, it's also I kind of knew how their personality was, so I don't think that they would have like taken it the right way, if that makes sense. Like, I don't have that problem with you because I just feel like you would listen.
I think our relationship is just completely different from other people's relationships.
Yeah, because I know if I were to share certain things before in my previous relationships, like if, let's say, I wasn't happy with what they told me, they would just either kind of argue back instead of actually like listening, like, oh, like I didn't mean to hurt you, that sort of stuff. Or yeah, that's really it. I don't know, with you it's like, even when you do bug me, I tell you though that you bug me, but I'm still able to communicate my feelings.
I think you're better at it now than you were when we first got married. You're finding those words and you're adding more words to your vocabulary to help you express and enunciate. Articulate, what you really want to say.
And I try to put like an example or scenario that you've had before to really
you're so good at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things Bianca does that really helps communicate how she feels, but also, again, lovingly expressing her feelings without hurting me, even though sometimes it may hurt me. Oops. I have thick skin, though. I have thick skin, okay? But she what she does is, and I love when you do this, is you give an example of, well, you like to put me in the other person's shoes, right? And I love when you do that. It's like, well, how would you feel if you were in XYZ's shoes? Try to understand. They don't, right?
Yeah.
Try to understand. For example, so the example that I'm using here is how I feel towards my dad when he can't hear me, when he doesn't pay attention, or basically my dad's just being his dad and he forgets. Right? Because it becomes very frustrating when I say something to my dad and he's like, yep, and then he just forgets. Right? Because a lot of the times when he forgets, it upsets me. It upsets me. I'm like, what, can't you remember? But Bianca, what you do so well is you're like, you got to remember. He's old. He don't remember. And he doesn't, the words that always get to me, he doesn't mean to do it on purpose. And that calms me down. So when you're able to articulate that to me, that actually helps a lot. Do I do anything like that with you? Like give examples? With your mom? Your mom doesn't mean to do it. I know I say like a lot of the things. It's like, I know I say this a lot to you is, dude, your mom's doing the best she can with the knowledge she has to the best of her ability at this moment. Because at the end of the day, what, your mom loves you. Yeah. Like, you can't, even I can't say, neither one of us can say, yeah, your mom don't love you. Like, that is far from the truth. Like, mom, she'll message us every Saturday morning. You want food?
Sleeping.
Yeah, like we're still sleeping. But we're always like, yeah. Like, dude, that's the heart of a loving mother.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes not sometimes. Like at the end of the day, your mom's heart always shows that she loves us.
Yeah, no, what I like is you're not, at times, most of the time, you're not biased.
Wait. What do you mean by that?
No, because you're like, you're my wife, of course you're great.
I mean, I do say that, but the reason I can say that is because if it doesn't, if the scenario or the situation isn't in your favor, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like, I'll just be brutally honest, but then I know how to butter you up to make you feel better. You just need hugs
Yeah, I like hugs.
or an ice cap.
I like ice caps.
Yeah, like I love the simplicity of your personality and the simple joys that make you happy. That's what I love about you. And you're not high maintenance. You think you're high
not.
maintenance?
I mean, give me a lot of stuff.
Just have to do with high maintenance.
Mm.
Do I give you a lot of stuff? I don't know who to compare myself to, who to compare us to. I
don't.
Yes, I do.
I mean, like, when you think of obviously high maintenance, it's like expensive stuff, but the things that you get me, they add up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I consider that high
But
maintenance.
you like knickknack. I don't really
No,
like
but then,
knickknacks.
like, for example, you know, with my computer, you're slowly updating that too. And then we literally went grocery shopping and he got me like 3 Kirby's.
I'm just thinking back and I'm like, why am I like that? I mean, one is because I love you, but it's just the reaction of how joyful you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to bring, because I know, again, when you were
appreciate
younger,
gifts.
I understand you didn't have those things when you were younger.
No, but I think I just appreciate gifts. Like, I remember when Brianna, no, was it Brianna? I don't know. I know Julian and Samantha, like when they were like little. I think it was like, I don't know why I remember this. It was like Valentine's Day. And I think, I don't know if I was babysitting the kids at the time for like at church. And they were just drawing. They weren't the greatest. Sorry, guys. Like these Valentine's cards. I'm pretty sure I have the box somewhere. And like, I was so happy and I appreciate those. Like, even just homemade gifts. So I don't know. I just appreciate a gift as a gift. And when I see the person, especially put the thought or like the hard work, even if it's crayons and whatever drawing they attempted to draw, yeah, I don't know. I like it.
Sentimental. You're sentimental.
Yeah.
You're more sentimental. Yeah, with me. Like those things. Okay, I'll keep them for a bit, put them in a box, and then what?
So like my gifts that I made before.
They're in a box.
So
I'm literally pointing. There's a box in my closet that is all those things.
So that
I didn't throw them out.
they don't like them.
No, I'm talking about like cards and stuff. Like,
Yeah. What if I made you a card?
if you made me a card, I'd keep it. But if it's like a card you buy at the dollar store, I'll keep
Oh.
it for like a few days and I'll throw it out. Sorry, guys. Like,
So like the Christmas.
yeah, Christmas ones. Merry Christmas.
What is a really cool one? What is like a Captain America one?
There is only one card I think I've thrown it out already, but I kept it for about 6 years. I think it was a Superman one that it was for my birthday. I forget who gave it to me. I think it was Susan. But they got me like a Captain America t-shirt and the card was a Superman card.
Okay.
I guess there was no Captain America cards, but when you opened the card, it would play the theme song of
And you
Superman.
threw it out?
No, I kept it.
Yeah. Well, then you said you threw it out.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
Maybe
cool.
it might still be downstairs.
I would have kept that.
Maybe I still do to keep it. I do keep a few things, but for the most part, I throw out a lot of things.
Anyway, what were you talking about?
I don't know. We just went off. We got sidetracked here. But anyways, yeah. So how to be? What was this whole podcast about? This is brutal. No, I know it always goes back to, you know, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your words have power, right? And at the end of the day, we want our words to be a positive influence towards others rather than a negative influence. But how do we apply that? And how do we become that person to be a positive influence with our words?
Wait, so what's the third point? We're on the third point?
The third point was actually role playing and using our audible voice and our
Gotcha.
mouth to practice saying these words and these phrases. Because, like I was saying, for me to say before, you're beautiful, it didn't roll off the tongue as smoothly as it does now. Because I wasn't that person yet and I didn't practice it. I literally didn't practice the muscles in my mouth per se to actually say those words where it became natural to me. Like now I say those things. Like even for me to say I love you to somebody who isn't, or who's just a close friend. I remember saying this to I can say this because at the time I would tell people, this is after like I think I was in my first year of Bible college. I was able to say I love you genuinely to people who I wasn't in a romantic relationship with. And to females and to males, right? Like first person I said it to, not the first person, but one of the people who I'd constantly say it to was Mervin. What's up, Mervin? And Mervin knows this. And I told him, I'm like, dude, I love you, man. And I know for a lot of guys, it's hard for them to just say the words I love you to another guy, but to genuinely say it as like a brother.
Yeah.
You don't hear that from a lot of guys, but I even said it to like Ray and Vanny and James, like, I love you guys, man. Like, you've been with me through thick and thin, and I love you.
Yeah, I don't know, you're right. I think it's harder for guys in general to
articulate words of affirmation, especially to other guys.
Yeah.
Now, I remember saying this to Beth, Mervin's sister. I told her, I remember, I'll never forget. I said it. Mind you, I was still in the relationship. I had a girlfriend at the time. But I told her, I'm like, I love you. And then I remember her saying it to me because this is where I realized not everybody can say that without being in a romantic relationship with someone. Because mind you, she knew I was her friend. And I knew I was her friend. Like, I remember I drove her to, I forget, Markham. Like, I took time out of my day to go with her to Markham to look at a vehicle because she needed a car. And these are the people I care dearly about, and I still do. And it's like, the reason I do this isn't because I want to get with you, but it's because, well, I had a girlfriend, but it's because I genuinely love you, like, as a friend. And I was able to say to her, I'm like, hey, I love you. And I remember in that time, she's like, I can't say it to you yet. Like there's something holding her back.
Yeah.
Right? And she told me, she's like, I'm not there yet. I'm like, oh my God, that's okay. But she knew, right? That I genuinely meant it. Like, I love you as a friend. I love Mervin as a friend, as a brother. I love you as my wife. Right. And just again, to say these things, if we don't practice saying these things first to ourselves, in our quiet time with God, in our meditation time, right? The chances of us actually saying it out loud to somebody is much less. And it won't roll off the tongue and it won't come out genuinely if we don't meditate on these things and we don't practice saying these things. That's why I was able to say these things. Like, even I think one good example is, again, practicing saying with our mouth out loud, role-playing these things. One of the things I did that didn't come naturally at first was when we got married, calling your mom and your dad, mom and dad. I still called them Tito Eric and Tita Claire for a good maybe 6 to 8 months until the only thing that changed is when I was finally able to just call them mom and dad on a consistent basis. You know what I did? In those mundane times where I would just be washing the dishes or making the bed or, just doing mundane things around the house, vacuuming, practicing. Again, I'd have scenarios in my head. They'd be like, hey, mom. I practiced literally saying it. Hey, dad, thanks, mom, for the food. Hey, mom. Oh, we're going to go to mom's place. We're going to go to dad's place. And I practiced saying those things until finally the words Tita Claire and Tito Eric, they were in the back of my head now, and in the forefront of my head and my mouth is mom and dad. Like, to me, they'll be mom and dad. Right? So just practicing saying those things.
Well, it's just like similar to when, like for school, if you have a presentation, that's why you always have to rehearse and practice it. And I remember, like when I had presentations, um, I did the work and I had put a script, but like I had to, if I
You
didn't
actually had to practice saying
because it would
it.
just sound not natural at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense to really
Actually.
just practice it, even if it's just singing out loud.
And hearing your own voice and
Yeah.
becoming comfortable with hearing your voice, because what you hear when you speak out loud is completely different from what other people hear.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when you first heard your voice like on camera or whatever,
Yeah,
you're like, "Ew, I hate my voice."
I still do, but yeah.
I remember I had the same thought when I first heard my voice on tape, like audio recording. I'd be like, "Ew, that's my voice." Like, I hate it. But I got over it quickly, where it's like, well, I can't do anything to change it, so
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So I guess step 3 is very important. We really emphasized on that. It's role playing and physically saying and practicing the words we want to say to others, preferably positive, encouraging, loving words and phrases. All right, I guess we'll end this podcast here. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Cool. All right, it's getting late, so we're going to end it here. Until next episode, we out. Peace.